Right, so today on A Good Old Natter With, I have a very special guest, Mr. Gareth Perry. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing okay.
This is a little bit different, isn't it? Me being the host and you being the guest.
I want to touch the buttons and I want to arrange things.
You do, don't you?
Got to make sure. Hang on a second. I've got to make sure the next share window popped up. Yeah, anyway.
Oh, brilliant. So, Gareth, you're the host of a Monkey Nut Punch podcast.
I'm the.
Well, one of the hosts.
How can I put it? I'm the more handsome, more intelligent.
Okay.
Less ranty, even tempered. 100 pounds less. I mean, in weight. Oh, send this to Keith when this is all over. Yeah, I'm the co-host of the Monkey Nut Punch podcast, which, it's ironic because it started off where I'm sitting, and it was we've had many incarnations, shall we say? But yeah, we do that. We try and get on every Sunday. We started talking about news now because it's a bit more. We found out how to balance it out positivity, because we found that we were covering the news and everything was just crap. Everything's just gone to the dogs. Marvel gone downhill, everything gone, and then we finally figured out a formula, because the idea was that we talk about the news, then if we want to rant, we rant, and then we go into something that we've watched that we've liked. Doesn't matter if it's old or new, and then we have like a kind of fixture. So at the moment, we did Star Trek for a good while. So I went to the Star Trek films, the proper Star Trek films, I'll have you know, not that 2009 J.J. Abrams nonsense. We did all of that, and now we're on to Harry Potter. I think we just did Goblet of Fire. So it's just so we can talk about things, and it's nice, and it's because as I said to you when you started this, the most important thing is enjoy yourself. Doesn't matter how many viewers or how little viewers you get, just enjoy yourself.
100%, yeah. So at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it, then what's the point? If you're just chasing subs and views there, and you're not enjoying the creative part of it, then there is no point to it. So yeah, totally agree. So let me know who are the other hosts on the show.
All right, so we originally started off as Gaming Face Punch in 2012-ish. So in 2012, and there was, we started off with Gaming Face Punch, and we had the podcast split into two. One was pop culture, and the other one was like video games and news and that. And myself and Keith sat in my little office here, and we recorded two podcasts just to see if we could. So we popped into GarageBand and plumbed in two mics, and then we just started doing that. And then Nigel then joined us because I was talking about video games with Nigel, and it was quite nice because we were working together at the same time. So we'd agreed that we'd do it on Friday, and on Friday we go to the local coffee shop, and we'd sit down there and we'd pull the news stories out and work out which ones we were talking about, which ones weren't we talking about, what bits to cover, this, that, and the other. We took the whole show up during our lunchtime, and then we'd get home, sort the kids out, all the kids went in, and then we went on what was Google Hangouts at the time. Do you remember Google Hangouts?
Yeah, never used it, but I remember it.
You used to be able to record on Google Hangouts like you can here on Streamlabs. So it was fantastic, because the other thing too is it also would flip when you were talking. So we could have one person up on the screen and it would flip when they talked automatically. And it's a fantastic feature. Never seen it repeated anywhere since, which is frustrating as all hell. So me and Nigel would do that. I had a really crappy Turtle Beach headset. And we decided that we were going to just do some video game stuff. We'll talk about some news. We do a few playthroughs. We see how it worked out. So we did this like on the YouTube side. Had great fun doing that. One of my favorite videos, well, I say it's one of my favorite videos, is when I played the PT demo on the PS4.
Oh, yes. Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, I invented the term double fuck. If you think you're fucked, no, you're double fucked. So I know you want to try and keep the language as clean as possible, but
That's all good.
If you watch the video, you'll understand.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we got together with Keith, and we got together on Wednesday, and then we just started recording bits and then putting it out. It's annoying because when we first started out, we were getting, I think, we get 124 downloads roughly per episode.
Wow.
And then 120, and then that went up to like 500, just almost 600.
Is this on Spotify?
No. This is just general downloads because Keith.
Oh, okay.
Keith, in his wisdom, was hosting it on his company server.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So he got to track the traffic.
Yeah.
So we could see the downloads going through, which is like kind of very iffy, but fuck it. Go with the flow. It's not illegal, is it? I don't know. So we did that. That was good. We had a really good run with that. And we were enjoying ourselves and doing silly things. So yeah, that was it. So it was myself, Keith, Nigel, got together Wednesdays and Fridays. They were terrible dicks, pardon my language, whenever I tried doing it, because they'd read the notes. Yeah, they go, no, and they go, all right, fair enough. We then get on, and then Keith would try and detour us, and then Nigel would get wound up, and it was. I think we had more fun in the setup than we did actually recording the podcast. So there was a guy called his name's Gerzo. He had like a YouTube channel and bits, and he joined us one of the podcasts, and he said you should stop recording the podcast and you should record you setting up for the podcast, because we were laughing so hard during the whole thing because of the screw ups and stuff that we were doing. We had like a proper, I've still got them in one of my things over here. We had proper like kind of Rode microphones and the setup and whatnot for it to try and get the best audio quality. And it was, as I said, it was fun. I just remember sitting in this room, and if I close we have to close the window to keep the noise down because I live near a motorway, and it would get hot. The Mac would just ball up with lots and lots of heat, and it was very interesting sitting in a room and warming up. Sorry, I might have derailed you so lightly.
Yeah, because I mean, I found you guys just generally scrolling through. I don't think it was Spotify I was using at first. It was some other.
Was it Player FM?
No, it could have been Podbeam or something. It was some kind of Android podcast app, and obviously because you was talking about games and TV shows and films, straight away piqued my interest, and I was a regular listener, and obviously I'd send you a couple of comments, and because you replied, it was like, oh blimey, somebody's talking to me while I'm listening, while I'm at work.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed the show, but then you went off air. So what happened there?
Wow, that's a very interesting story. So Keith moved jobs, so we had to move the podcast. Now we managed to move the podcast, put redirects on and everything, and no one would have noticed what we did. So we were now hosting it through, oh God, what is it? What's that? Squarespace. Squarespace, if you want to do podcasts, not a bad place to host a podcast through Squarespace. Got some tutorials and bits on there. So we were hosting through Squarespace, and we had a domain, and the domain was www.gamefacepunch.com, which was fantastic, which I think I need to go and rebuy when you're at the end of the story. So one day, I think it might have been you actually, everyone goes, have you not put a podcast out recently? And we're like, oh no, we put one out recently. I checked the website. The website's fine. Then I see a little red triangle. What's this? Your domain has been disconnected. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I go down to the thing, I check the domain. We got it from GoDaddy. So we got it from GoDaddy, and someone hadn't paid the domain fee on time because they hadn't updated their credit card on GoDaddy. Keith, basically. Keith hadn't paid it, yeah? And then he ignored the emails for 3 months. 3 whole months. So GoDaddy suspended our domain for non-payment, which is entirely their right. And then they did the great thing, and then they put a redirect on ours to sex toys on Amazon.
Brilliant.
yeah, and the downside to that is if you're trying to keep your SEO, keeping yourself away from porn and bits,
yeah,
it's quite essential. Don't associate yourself with adult bits because it doesn't go well in the Google algorithm. So yeah, that killed everything. And I think we're at 600 downloads per podcast.
Wow. Okay.
So we were doing really well at the time. I was livid. You have no idea how livid I was. We were doing so well that on Player FM, we were beating Jim Sterling, if you know, well, Stephanie Sterling, whatever his name is now, podcast that he was doing. That's how well we were doing. And it was weird because the people at Player FM really liked us. We would talk to them over Twitter, which is fantastic. So they promote us. We get like free promotion from them. So we were doing really well. And then that happened. And then I'm like, I was so despondent after that. I'll be frank with you, put me in a real funk because it was like we built all this stuff up, and the only way we get it back is for Keith to pay 600 quid. And I was like, to quote Aliens, let's take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. And it was like, let's go back, have a rethink, and see what we can do. And this was 2016. So
wow, was it 2016? Okay,
2016, yeah. I know because I was in Cuba at the time because we were communicating because I could only do internet inside the in the lobby in Cuba, so I'd have to get into the lobby, go onto the internet, chat to them over using my phone, and try and get some bits sorted. So we were like trying to get the domain and all the other bits set up, but go for the re-go, and then we decided that we would go with the name Monkey Nut Punch. And the reason we picked Monkey Nut Punch is because I had my brother on one of the podcasts, and because Keith couldn't do the week, so Alex covered, and Alex insisted that he was on the Monkey Nut Punch podcast and not the Gaming Face Punch podcast, or the Monkey Nut Punch, or the Gaming Face Punch thing, and he was making all these silly things. It stuck in my head, so I figured, hell, let's call it the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. I don't think many people, knew that. So we did that. We set up a thing. We did a test bit where we didn't have any graphics or any layout. We set up a new web page and everything. And at that time, people were still using Facebook because you could get that, and you could pay for promotions on Facebook, and Facebook would actually promote what you're doing. So it was fantastic. So we did that, and it got some traction back. I think the first one got 110 downloads, which wasn't too bad for something that was brand new. And then people started trying to post it on the Face Punch Facebook page and this, that, and the other. And we then got it together and started recording again. It was good. I think we were having some issues because Keith had moved from the UK to Thailand.
Right, yes. Okay, yeah.
So getting him to mix the podcast down was absolutely nightmarish because he would mix the podcast down and he would fret over every little thing. So they're called plosives. So when you see the pop guard over a microphone, it's to stop these plosives from happening. And he would go through there and he would remove all the plosives from the podcast. And I'm like, okay. And my brain's going, it's Adobe. I'm sure there's something automatic that do it.
Yeah.
And if you go online, if you're ever doing anything with audio, there's a guy online called Mike Russell. We talked to him on Twitter. He was another guy we talked to on Twitter because I can't remember what we were doing. We were watching all these videos, and then we turned on Adobe Audition, and as Adobe Audition loaded up, Mike Russell popped up. So we tweeted at him because Mike goes, "We've been listening to your things. You're now on Adobe Audition. Well done." And it's like he tweeted back to us, and it was all fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was fun. So we got it all sorted, got the thing and that done. We were still doing the audio setup rather than the kind of video setup we got now.
Yeah.
Google Hangouts had stopped, which was painful. So we were looking into things. So I think we were looking into things called StreamYards. It's a good program. Don't get me wrong. I use this talk studio from Office Labs, Streamlabs, through Streamlabs, and the tool it's a good tool to start off with, and you can get the free version of the 720p, but you get the StreamYards logo in it. But if you want 1080p and this, that, and the other, so we started moving across bit by bit onto Streamlabs. We did that, had some fun, weren't getting as much traction as we did before, but none of our promotions would go anywhere. We weren't like friendly with the people at Player FM and these sort of things that we had before. And it was one of those things. We were enjoying it, but that it kind of, it got to a point, and this is like, I think we're in COVID, and it was really difficult because everyone was miserable because we were all locked in our houses. And we kind of struggled for a bit, so we kind of I think we put it on pause for a couple of weeks just to give everyone a break and whatnot. So we did that, and then we came back to it, and then we started up, and then Nigel was like, we were primarily doing just pop culture stuff, and Nigel's like, I can't just do the pop culture stuff, I need to talk about games and bits like this. And it's like, okay, we'll sort something out. So then we rebirthed the Gaming Face Punch channel, and I got in contact with you. I said, we'll redo this, and then we'll do some retro stuff on it too. So you can do the retro stuff and collector stuff, and we'll do all the regular gaming news. I did that, came back, got some decent traction. I'll be honest with you, got some decent traction on YouTube because it was primarily YouTube with the podcast on there. Got some decent traction on that. It was fun. And then this is the really frustrating thing, which just absolutely kill you, is that you've got this one person in your group, who submits his notes, and in his notes there's just a string of numbers you cannot say. like the Atari, what was it? The Atari 2600 NTX 34VB something, and I'm trying to read it.
It was XLXE, wasn't it? Oh, it was brilliant.
The XLXE. Oh my! And you're trying to, yeah.
Good content though.
Oh yeah, just laughing at me trying to read these stories. It's like, the great thing about that is we left the bloopers and bits inside the podcast. So if you listen to it, you can hear us fuck up. It's
perfect though. It's real, and I genuinely think people like that kind of stuff. I know it's whoever cocks up, it's at their expense, but we're all human, and you see a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos, and they're way too edited. I mean, I'll do a load of editing on mine. It'd be right messy if I didn't, but some things I think, sod it, I'll leave that in. Somebody will have a giggle at that. I'm sure somebody will leave a comment, But yeah. So how did you meet Keith? And you said that you worked with Nigel. Did you know Nigel beforehand, or?
So I'll start with Keith because I knew Keith. I knew Keith. I've known Keith since 1996.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, so I've known Keith since 1996. I was dating a girl, and she was in the same class as Keith. Yeah, so I was doing hardcore science stuff. So I was doing like nuclear.
So was this college, or was it school?
Yeah.
College, yeah.
College, yeah. So I was doing hardcore science stuff. I was doing nuclear physics, genetics, and empirical chemistry.
Wow.
Yeah, hardcore science thing. The genetics was great. I bred a load of flies, and then next week I killed them and counted them. I felt like Mengele.
Okay.
So so I was going out with her. She was so I was getting introduced to like a friends group, and he was like in the friends group with stuff, and he was very nerdy. And there was a TV show called Babylon 5 that I was massively into, and he was into Deep Space Nine. And I was like, kind of, oh, you like Deep Space Nine? He goes, no, you watch B5. And he went, no. He goes, you should watch B5. So I lent him a load of tapes, videotapes. Oh my
yes.
God. I lent him a load of videotapes, and I think I lent him 6 over the weekend. And then he came back to me and he said, I can't remember, he said if he bought another 6 so he could watch what was happening next. And then he was going to get the rest. Because he goes, I really enjoyed that. Because I didn't know this was this good. So he watched that and then kind of bonded over that. And that was fun. And then I broke up with the girlfriend, and then went out with another girl. And Keith and I were still, okay at this point in time. And then we had a little falling out. It involved me stopping him from being beaten up by like 6 people. The problem was he ran away. Thanks, Keith. I remember that. He ran off. He ran off, but he ran off to go and get the security guard. So he's forgiven for that. Because it was just like, I was going to take on 6 people, and I'm like, part of me is like, kind of, this ain't going down well, because maybe one, that one over there, the short one with the gimpy leg, that's the one I could take. Everyone else, I'm not too sure about.
Was Enter the Dragon going through your head at the time?
I'll be honest with you. I went into college on a bike, and I had like a big old chain and a padlock.
Oh, okay.
Part of me was like, go fucking like Road Warrior, Road Rash sort of on
it. Yeah, swinging it around.
Swing it around. It's like, it's got a big old chunky padlock on it. I thought, fuck it, I'm going down swinging. Yeah. Anyway, this guy turned up. The security guy turned up, broke the whole thing up, and everything was fine, which was okay. Yeah, and then we kind of like fell out of each other's orbits for a bit. I think it's when I started going out with my wife now. We kind of fell out of each other's orbits, and we didn't talk to each other for a good about 4.5 years.
Okay, yeah.
But we did have some fun. So one of the things I remember as a story is that I was around Keith's house, yeah, and my other friend Ben was coming over, and I've been working at a place called Woolworths, and they had a Return of the Jedi lightsaber from when they did the THX VHS releases, and I found it in the back of the thingy, and I bought it, and I fucking loved it. And I told my mate Ben about it, and he went, "Oh, that's awesome." I go, "That's absolutely awesome." And I went over to Keith's house. I brought it over to Keith's house. He's playing around with it. He thinks it's great. He does the zoom zoom as you're doing it, and when you hear it, it's absolutely fantastic. Big giant 19-year-old child I was, and my mate Ben comes, and just before he turns up, I turn to Keith and I look at him. I go, "I feel a disturbance in the force." And he went, "Really?" And he goes over to the window, and Ben comes up, yeah, and Ben's bought himself a big, like a Darth Maul double-bladed lightsaber thing, and he's jumped off his bike, and I've gone, "Told you so." Keith will back me up on that. So yeah, we did that. It was one of those mad memories that you have of things doing. And the other one was, I think, where we sat in his backyard, and my friend said about freezing vodka. Vodka doesn't freeze. The way it freezed was, I got Blue Label vodka. We put it in the freezer, didn't freeze. But what it does do when it's nice cold, you can barely taste it.
Yeah.
He necked a bottle of vodka in about 20 minutes, between the two of us.
Wow.
And it was great. We then went out for a walk with his dog, yeah, because we didn't feel pissed at all because it's not worked, yeah. And we went out, and I'm not joking, we got down to the river, and we were just pissing ourselves laughing because we are drunk as all hell. And that was one of the fun things. Anyway, Keith then he then went into a different friends group, and I had my kind of like friends through my missus and whatnot, and we worked together too. That was the other thing too. Keith and I worked together at Electronics Boutique before it turned into Game.
Ah, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So we both worked there in a place called Staines, which is the Staines in Ali G. So we worked there together, and that was fun. I remember coming up one day, and Keith had hidden in the rubbish upstairs, yeah, because it's like there's a guy working with Dave, and it's like, do you know where Keith is? I'm like, I've got a clue where Keith is. All right, so I went upstairs to look for him, and I'm looking at the rubbish. I go, "Keith, where are you?" And I just hear giggling. He's like hiding in the rubbish, wanting to fucking ambush me with a broom. He thinks it's hilarious. Then, yeah, he did that.
And this was while at work.
This is while at work. He thought it was hilarious. Then there was the, what do you call it? Oh yeah, he got a wheelie chair and put a load of cardboard around it and pretended to be a Dalek.
Brilliant.
So I came up to shrink wrap a load of PC games and then the big boxes. Remember the big, gorgeous boxes that PC games came in with, the big thick manuals? Yeah, yeah. Okay, just so I went up to shrink wrap it, and I just got him going sitting on a wheelie chair going exterminate. Keep it back to work.
Brilliant.
He was being a dick. And then, oh yeah, right. So the PlayStation 2 was launching. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Dave, who I worked at the Electronics Boutique with, knowing that the Keith's a character, shall we say, decides, goes, I've got a great idea. Goes, what we're going to do? Goes, we're going to claim that we've got a PS2 sent to us by head office. Yeah, I have. And he goes, I have this cardboard cutout from his magazine. He goes, we'll put it together. We'll put it in the top of the cabinet so I can't quite see it properly. And then we'll claim that we've got PS2. Right, I went, fuck it, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we did it. And we did the gag with PS2, and he came in and looked and went, oh my god, you have too. It's because you didn't have like phones at the time. Like these are like text. The most sophisticated thing you have on a phone was Snake. Yeah, the old 3310s. So it was
and pages.
Oh, pages, yeah. Anyway, got the PS2, the cardboard cutout PS2. Dave's done a sterling job on this. Yeah, he's even convinced me. Yeah, and I looked and I did a double take because it was like, because he's told me what he's doing, and I've gone, God, that looks real. He went, yeah, well, no. So we told Keith I've got PS2, and he came in. He's like, oh my God, PS2. He goes, can we touch it? Dave goes, no, you can't touch it because it's worth about £500 to head office. This if you touch it because we're in deep stum. Yeah, can't touch it. He's like, okay. I think we managed to last about 10 o'clock before we just pissed ourselves laughing because he kept on thinking it was real. He thought we had this real PS2 there, and it was we had some fun there. So it was, and as I said before, kind of fun out of his orbit. I was supposed to start a government job, but I had to go through security clearance before I could do the job, and that would take 7 months to 18 months clearance to get the job.
That's a bit of a jump, isn't it, from Electronic Boutique?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I needed a proper job. That was it. I need to go for a proper job, so I went for a proper job.
I've been there, yeah.
So I did the proper job thing. I did my interview. I did a really scary interview. Anyway, I decided I needed to get another job, proper job, while I was waiting for the security clearance for that job. So oh crap, I've got to get another job. So I started this engineering company, and did a terrible interview because I've got a job already. So I'm being arrogant as fuck. So it's like, knowing someone walks into an interview, and if you've ever done interviews for people, and they're confident and they're absolutely everything just seems easy to them. Yeah. For them, I must have come across as that, because part of me is going, I don't get a job, I don't care. I'll try. If I do. Came in there, did the interview. It was probably the worst interview that I've done in my entire life. My then boss said that it was like kind of, sum yourself up in one word. It's right, I'm getting to a point that, trust me guys, sum yourself up in one word, and it's like kind of, and I went, I don't believe in using words to describe my actions. I use my actions to describe my actions are what I expect to be judged on. The person he was with was nodding, going, oh, that's a fucking textbook, brilliant answer. My boss, being autistic spaz, I'm going to call him because he probably is, was like, no, use one word. And this is why it's the worst interview. I thought about it for a moment, and because I was being like, I don't care if I get this job or not, I just leant back in the chair and I went, flexible. Like that. And
flexible.
I was like, flexible, yeah. And I got the job.
I knew it. Brilliant.
I'm like, how the hell did I get that job? But I got the job. Just like pointing out, I've been with the company for 22 years now. So
also, it's still your current job. Wow.
Still, well, I've had different roles and stuff inside it, but the same company, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that
until this podcast comes out, and then
this podcast comes out. They know I tell the story at work to people.
Yeah.
It's because it's the worst interview I ever did. So anyway, going back to it, and then I started work, and lo and behold, one of the guys I was working with was this short, angry, ginger person with a full head of hair. This was Nigel.
He had his hair then. Wow.
He had a full head of hair at the time. He was receding, but it's like, well, I say full head, almost a full head of hair. And I met Nigel, and Nigel was a bit of a prickly chap. He struggled getting on with people and whatnot. And I think it took me 2.5 years to crack him. Yeah, to figure out how to get him to work. And then after that, I then got him to then, what do you call it, Amiga. No, because started talking about Dark Ages of Camelot.
Yes.
Just was like,
my favourite game.
I'm just playing Dark Ages of Win a lot. He loves that game.
Oh, he does.
So I managed to get through to him and whatnot, and we started becoming friends and this, that, the other. And there was another guy I was working with, Gavin, another friend, Malcolm. It was like the four of us. And what we used to do is we used to disappear off to my house at lunchtime and play games, which was fantastic. So Tanith had bought me a GameCube just because she felt like it when Game Station existed. I miss the shops, I really do. When Game Station existed, and we used to come back and we used to play like F-Zero and Double Dash and Metroid Prime, and we used to do it because we had a nice big screen. It was split. It was like my first flat house sort of thing, and we did that, and that was good. And Nigel kind of started coming along for the ride for these bits here and there, and then me and him started playing online. And this is when I think it's the start of the PS3, Xbox 360 generation. And I had a friend who worked for EA, and he says, "Look, any game you want, I can get you for £5." Really? Yeah, any game you want.
Oh wow, that's a good friend.
A new game. Oh yeah, so I got Crisis out of him. I got 2 copies of Army of Two, and this is where I think me and Nigel started properly bonding over gaming. So the first thing we did is if the PS3 connectivity for networking was just shite. Yeah. It was, you have to figure out what NAT was. So we've got NAT 1, 2, or 3, and it's like kind of, it'll do NAT 1 and 2, but it won't do NAT 3. Why won't it do NAT 3? Why is it registered as NAT 3? And it's like kind of, I plugged it in, it's in Ethernet. Why it should be NAT 1 at least, and it's like no. And then we had to put the headsets on. Anyway, we managed to get it on. And Army of Two, it's not the greatest game. It's not the greatest game, but me and Nigel had such a good time playing it together as co-op shooter.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
And we had such a good time doing it, and it was like kind of because you have this like heat thing. So the enemies would, if you run out and start shooting at the enemies, the heat, everything, all the focus would go onto you. So matey could run around the back and then start shooting it, and then the whole heat would go onto them, and then you could push forward and so forth and so on. And it was like kind of one where you had the shield, you go back to back. So Nigel, naturally, I was the big fella and he was the little guy. And I just remember one of the funniest lines in it was like kind of, they were supposed to act as bodyguards, these 2 people, and this guy was going across this bridge, and the bridge blows up. And it's that guy comes, and then your contact comes over the radio, goes, "Oh, you're being set up for murder." And the guy turns around and goes, "We haven't murdered anyone." And then turns around and goes, "Okay, maybe we have murdered a few people, but we didn't murder that guy." And me and Nigel just burst out laughing. It was a proper guttural kind of belly laugh from it. So yeah, we did that. I think we did Call of Duty. We went to the whole Call of Duty when Call of Duty was on the 360 and the PS3, and Fallout and all those things. And we kind of bonded over that. And then I think, I can't remember, it was about 2011. We were like kind of, we should talk about gaming to people. Yeah, we like gaming. It's like kind of, yeah, it's like kind of like that. Because I figured out this thing called, it was OBS. I think it was like first generation of OBS, and maybe the third of OBS coming out. It's like kind of, I've got this program, and he was telling me about OBS and how it works and whatnot. I was like, oh, cool. And I went over here, played around with OBS, got the settings and whatnot, and I put it on my work laptop because I didn't have anything. So I didn't have any kind of desktop computer because I got rid of it.
Yeah.
When the 360 generation, because kind of stopped with the PC gaming at the time, and then everything started going digital, and I didn't like that. Yeah, too late now, Gareth. Everything's digital. Even when you get the disc, you put it in, it just downloads it. So yeah, we did that. We started playing around with OBS. We got these Ava Media live gamer portable things.
Yeah.
To record like kind of things. We were learning all that, doing it, trying to sort out the bit rate, this, that, and the other. We weren't too good at it. Nigel was trying to figure out how to talk on games and stuff and make it kind of entertaining and whatnot. And he just records stuff, everything from like One Finger Death Punch, I think was one of the things he did. And then I'd record stuff too. So we just did that, and we just mucked around and enjoyed ourselves. And that's as I said, it doesn't matter if you're doing a YouTube channel or a podcast or something. Just have the fun. That's why you do it, just because you enjoy yourself, you know. And you get to meet interesting people too. So yeah, it's I looked away then because I'm just so used to talking to Keith. If I talk to Keith when I'm on podcast, I turn this way, but I'm on this side, I have to turn that way. So you meet interesting people. So yeah, we went through all of that, and we kind of set up the YouTube channel, and at the same time too, Keith kind of come back into my circles and whatnot, and we just started talking again, and he was like, kind of, we could do a podcast. I went, all right. So we did record. I don't know what's happened to the two recordings. We did two recordings of what was the original Gaming Face Punch podcast, and one of them was, I can't remember. The second one was about Michael Bay's Transformers. Yeah, we recorded for an hour, and then we recorded for another hour, and I talked about Michael Bay's Transformers. And we went through the whole thing. And going back to Nigel, Nigel and I figured out that we could use Hangouts to record podcasts and bits online, and then we'd cut the bits up, turn them into videos, and put them out. Bit rate wasn't too great, image quality wasn't too great. We didn't care. We were having fun. Yeah. So we did that, and then got Keith on board, and then Keith then started joining in, and we just carried on doing the podcast and bits from there. And I've known Nigel now. What's not Nigel? That was 2022 years. I've known Nigel. So yeah, this is a long time to know someone, and yeah, he's it's funny because when Nigel is on form, and I've got a video of Nigel. When Nigel's on form, he's the best person to hang around with. Seriously, you have no idea when he's in a great mood. Downside is that sometimes he's one of these poor souls that gets frustrated very easily over things. And because he gets that, you kind of want to avoid him when he's getting frustrated over things. But trust me, I'll show you some videos later when we stop recording this of me and Nigel in Disney driving around this like Autopia track thing. And Nigel's got Tanner said to me, he goes, I've never seen Nigel look so happy. And he goes, me and him had a whale of a time driving around that. And I've got videos. I've been meaning to put them together because it was something I was going to put on the thingy, but on the channel. But something happened with the encoder on Final Cut, which is really annoying. So it won't accept the video from my phone. But okay. I'll figure something out. Yeah, the encoding's off on it, so the video's great, but it's weird because I can watch it online and whatnot. Maybe I'll just upload the whole thing into YouTube and do it there. But yeah, we had some great fun and that, and yeah, he's as I said, he's a good chap, but he has his moments. But then again, I have my moments too. I've seen me kick off.
Yeah, we all have our moments. We do. So what made you decide to split the podcast from Monkey Nut Punch to Gaming Face Punch?
Oh, is this the return or the
return? Yeah.
The return. So what it was the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. We kind of started up when we were when it was COVID. We were using StreamYards to talk to each other with, and we said, "Well, just record it. Tell the family we're online, and because no one's doing anything, we just try and entertain them." And we did that, and it was very TV movies, yeah, because Keith was sorting all the stuff out a bit, so very TV movies. And Nigel was like, kind of, he just was like, I'm not sure if I can do this. It's not really my thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, kind of, okay. And I went, all right, fair enough. If you don't want to do the thing, that's fine. You don't have to do the thing. We can do something else. And it was like, okay, we'll do something else. And so we can go back to doing what we started doing, because I remember the going to the coffee shop in like 2012, and working out the stories between the two of us, and putting notes together, working on it together. And I think that's one thing that me and Nigel are missing, because we don't.
Yeah.
The distance between the two of us at the moment is that face-to-face bit where we'd sort all the notes out and bits. And I remember having the big notebook and whatnot, and we go through all the stories and stuff there. So he was like, okay, let's do that. And I went, all right, fair enough. And I was like, okay, I'll put together. And I was like, kind of, would like a third person. I was like, who do I know who's really big into gaming? Who really likes his games? Okay, he's wrong. He's wrong about the ZX Spectrum versus the Amstrad, but yeah.
Says all the Amstrad owners.
Well, if you're talking about the ZX, yeah. If you're talking about the ZX, is it 16K? Definitely.
The original spec.
Yeah, the original Spectre, the proper Spectrum, the one that everyone associates with Spectrum.
Not the ZX80 or the 81, the original.
No.
The original rubber key.
Not the one with 128K. I laugh at that. I'm thinking about that now when I send an email with a 60 meg attachment glued onto it, and Outlook's going, do you really want to do that? We could share our OneDrive.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But I remember that. So we then invited you on, and we were like, kind of, okay, we'll do the newer stuff, the newer kind of like kind of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and any kind of PC stuff going on, or anything kind of controversial that's going on in the world, and we'll let you do the Spectrum thing. So that will give it kind of a bit of texture, if you know what I mean, podcast wise. And you agreed. Fool you. And then we started it off, and we had a good run for a bit, but we now need to kind of get back to it.
Yeah, we need to. It's really weird, you know, how I've started the channel off, and it's almost as though I've got this reputation of, right, I'm just Spectrum, which is completely untrue. It was just the Spectrum. It was just the Spectrum Next got me back into retro stuff, because retro to me, it's never gone away. It's always been what's around me. I'd always moved on, like from the 1 to 8 Spec A. I moved on to the Atari, and then I moved on to the Amiga, and then it was the Amiga for years, and Mega Drive, and all the Japanese consoles that were coming out at the time. Because, like yourself, so you were in Electronics Boutique, I was working in Microbyte beforehand. The days of when you had, I think you had Mr. Disc. I don't know if you remember Mr. Disc. And
I don't remember Mr. I'm not. Yeah, I'm old. I'm not that old.
Yeah, so it was game shops before Electronics Boutique, and I'm only 21. So, but yeah, after the Amiga, as soon as the PCs were always about, but as soon as the Pentium came into force, and Doom was there, and Duke Nukem, and then Quake came out, that was it. Then I was PC up until this day, PC gamer. I wasn't interested in the latest consoles that were coming out. PS2 was impressive, obviously, when that came out. But I had my PC, and to this day, that is my main love. But because of the channel, it's rekindled my love for all the old retro systems again. But for me, I'm more of a Spectrum next, and for new modern retro. But I think the Amiga, there's two behind me. That was my main love, mainly because of writing music as well on the Amigas. That was my main thing. But
it's funny because my son's the same with his Mac, where he writes music and bits on his Mac, and he's got a guitar for Christmas now, so he kind of like plugs it in and stuff, and he's like,
oh wow.
So he loves that stuff. I can understand that thing, because my uncle Phil was a DJ for they're called Full Circle, I think it was. And it was funny because when my sister was going out with this guy who was really into like the club rave scene, he knew what the club that he worked for, Full Circle, and he knew my uncle, and my uncle loved making music and stuff. I think it was Fruity Loops. Was it Fruity Loops?
Fruity Loops. Wow, I haven't heard that Fruity for a while. Loops. Yeah.
So yeah, it was that. It's strange how these things come up.
Yeah. So one of my questions was going to be, obviously you're into games. Where did your gaming journey start?
Wow, when I was a wee boy, my first games console was the Atari 2600, and it was the plastic one, not the wooden one. And I had the weird kind of, the paddle one with a stick at the top and the buttons on the side, rather than the stick with the button on it. Yeah, so I had the weird one. If you turn it upside down with a ray gun.
That's the Junior, the smaller one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that, and I got Miss Pac-Man with it.
Yeah.
Galaxian, Yard's Revenge.
Oh,
can't remember if I had Moon Patrol. Couldn't remember if I had Moon Patrol.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Class games.
I was given Pac-Man, and I realised why I was given Pac-Man, because on the Atari it was shit.
I liked Atari 2600 Pac-Man.
No,
it's controversial, but yeah,
it's terrible. No, it is garbage tier when you put it next to Miss Pac-Man. Graphics better on Miss Pac-Man. Everything clearer. Sound a lot. Miss Pac-Man was the downside is that I was a boy. I don't want to play as a girl with a bow in her hair. My money,
that's
4, 5.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had that, and it was something we'd break out on like a Sunday, because you had to put it in the back of the TV, turn it on, tune the channel. Yeah, it was like
that's right.
Can we just leave it on channel? Just
0 or 9.
Yeah, it was like, can we just put it on 7 and we'll just leave it on there? No. From the Atari 2600, I figured out how the aerials work on TVs when I was 5. Yeah, I figured out how to tune it in and why it was doing it, and the signal going through, and all this stuff here. And it was like I could tune the TV in, and when we got our first VHS, I tuned the TV in to the VHS to make the VHS work, and I think I was 7 at the time, so I tuned it in. So Mum and Dad plugged it in. Dad went away to read the manual, and as Dad's reading the manual, I turned it on, and I'm just like, and I'm like watching it, and it's like kind of kids do not know the difficulty of having to tune a television channel.
So we had Betamax as well first, so and plus our first TV in the living room. Obviously it was a big, huge valve thing, so you had to wait for it to warm up. And then our first modern TV, because you hired TVs and you didn't buy them, you hired them.
We bought ours from Co-op.
Oh, okay. I think one of our first TVs was like a cast-off. Second TV, colour TV. This is colour TV in the living room. It had a remote control, but it had a wire to the TV.
No,
yeah. It was. But yeah, our first video player was a Betamax, and it was a proper push. Put it in. Everything had made a noise, and it was brilliant. Loved it. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
It's so yeah, to tune in. So the first one was that we played those games. It would always come out on a Sunday. So we'd sit there, me and my sister would play that, and my younger brother, eventually when he turned up, would too. So that was fun. And then my next one was Amstrad CPC 464 color monitor. Fantastic.
Color monitor.
Fantastic.
That you see, all the rich people had the color monitors. Everybody I knew just had the green one.
See, that's why I've got such a low opinion on it.
You were very, 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 very lucky to have the color monitor, definitely. But saying that, what you've just said, and that's probably right, because you're talking about when the Amstrad came out, I was probably about 10, 11, and the only friend that I knew was somebody who lived in our street, and he had the Amstrad 464 green monitor, and that was the impression you got. It was like, well, every game is green, so how rubbish is that?
See, if you just had the color monitor, that made all the difference. So
I totally agree. You know, looking at them now, yeah,
it's weird because it gave me my first taste of coding. So my dad would sit down and he'd do a bit of coding, and then I was like, well, it seems quite simple. He's just copying it from the book. So I'd copy it from the book, and then I'd read the notes along the side because you have the notes in the margin telling you what it's doing.
Yeah.
And my dad spent an entire weekend programming a game that was in the Amstrad monitor thing. So he typed the whole code out for the whole thing. I think it was like,
and this is basic, isn't it? Yeah.
This is basic, yeah. So he did that. It worked, but we couldn't save it.
Couldn't save
it because the way the thing was set up, you couldn't save it, which was the most frustrating thing ever. So he did that, and I was like, okay, cool. So I started doing it, and then Dad got like a medium level one, because he did that with like the advanced level one, because it was like a full blown game. You had this little bug thing that was getting chased around and stuff was getting blown up. And then there was a medium one from, I think it was a Telegraph, and I spent Sunday morning to Sunday afternoon programming that, and it was just, you have to go through and you have to be very, very careful with your syntax. I'm still terrible with syntax now when I program stuff. Yeah, I have to I have like interpreters and stuff where it highlights it and tells me if it's right or wrong before I even go anywhere near the kind of actual thing. So just going through the syntax and getting the syntax right inside the machine, that was difficult. But I got out that, and I had like a weird slidey game where you had to slide the piece puzzles around. That for me. I was so thrilled with the fact that I actually created something. Then I remember I couldn't save it, so and it was like, it's gutted. But I created like my first actual. Well, admittedly, it was more a script kiddie sort of thing, but I'd done a bit of programming, which was great, and I really liked that, and I got a little bit of a taste for that, and it was like part of me. It was annoying because at my school they didn't do anything in regards to programming, which is frustrating. But me and my friend at the time when I was at school, a guy called Gareth too. Not Gareth 2, Gareth. His name was Gareth Evans.
Gareth 2.
Not Gareth 1, Gareth 2.
The Revenge.
Oh yeah, it was great because we used to sit in what do you call it? We'd have information technology.
Yes.
At the time.
Yes.
So we had information technology, and we did our lesson. So they give us a task to do a lesson. You need to do this, fill this spreadsheet in. It's like, okay, so me and Gareth Evans would be like, we're done. 20 minutes into the lesson. Yeah, the two of us. Yeah, 20 minutes into the lesson. It's like, okay, we soon figured out that, okay, we can do it. And then it's like, let's see what's on the rest of the computer. So we found the game Gorilla. We got the two gorillas throwing explosive bananas at each other. I think it's explosive bananas. Memory might be a little off.
What computers? So what computers did you go to school at the time? Were they BBCs
or RM Nimbuses?
Oh, okay.
So these were RM Nimbuses, and so we found that the game with the monkeys flinging the bananas at each other was good. And then we found lots of other stuff in there, and we were figuring out how the bat files worked, and the init files worked, and the PID files. I don't know if they still exist. Things called PID files and stuff inside Windows worked. And we were just playing around trying to get all these bits before, and then it was great because we'd spend 20 minutes working and 40 minutes just messing around with the computer trying to learn about it, and it was just fun. I just remember having an absolute barrel of laughs with him as we were going through this, and we did that. And while that was happening, I'd moved on to, so that was the Amstrad, and talk about the coding and stuff. And then my next thing after the Amstrad, and we played some great games on there. If you ask Keith about Harry Attack, have you ever played Harry Attack?
Yeah.
You know, the one where you fly and brilliant. Yeah. So Harry Attack, it was always trying to land on the carrier at the end. We'd always cock up the carrier, or we'd nudge on whoever was trying to fly it into the crash onto the carrier and leave a massive dent in it. So Harry Attack was good. Eyeball, first game I ever heard with recorded speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you turned it on, it went eyeball, and I was like, Claire, which is my sister. Claire, come listen to this. And it's like,
yeah.
Wait
Look what my computer's doing. Yeah.
And
they were good moments. They were good moments when things like that happened. They really were.
And it's the load times. God, I used to what do you call it? Put the tape in, put it down, press play, kick off the C run load or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. Like run da da da, and I then disappear off into the garden and play with my Knight Rider toy while I was waiting for the thing to load up, and then I come back in and then about Goonies and whatnot. What was the one that was quite a good one? Oh, Olympic Games.
Yeah,
Olympic Games was a good one. You know, it smashed the keyboard and bits, and we'd always get stuck on the skydiving. Well, it was called skydiving. It was cliff diving, but they called it skydiving for some reason. I remember that because my sister's like, it's not really skydiving. It's like, don't ask me. So we did the cliff jumping, and then we did a dive and whatnot, and we tried to do it, and that was terrible. Daley Thompson, remember that? Daley Thompson, he had again more running, shot putting, pretty much the model that Konami used when they did their Olympic Games on the PS2, and that was fantastic. And the fact that you could go into like your Sweet Shop or WH Smith's and pick up a game for like £2. And one of the games that I loved picking up, on the series of games that I loved picking up that I played on the Amstrad, was Dizzy by the Oliver Twins.
Well, you used to have the carousel, didn't you, with all the Mastertronic games in?
Yeah. And Dizzy. And the first one I played was Magic Land Dizzy. There were other Dizzy games because I missed out on those ones.
I was never a fan. Never a fan.
Never a fan.
Never a fan of the Dizzy games. They're highly regarded as classic.
They are
classic games, especially on the Specky. But for me, not a fan. Not a fan. There was too many other games that I thought were far superior. And when they did they did like a more expensive Mastertronic range. I can't remember what it was called. There was like a silver lettering, and they did a game called Spellbound. Much better game. Yeah. But
I have a funny joke about the Oliver Twins. So you told me to go to a retro gaming convention somewhere.
Yes.
I can't remember where it was now.
That was Retcon last year.
Retcon last year.
Hopefully we're going this. I mean, I've got my ticket for this year. I don't know if.
Well, you have to send me the details because I haven't. You're keyed into this stuff when I'm.
Okay, I'll send you all the details again. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can twist Nigel's arm to go down there again. I have not to buy a PC when I go down there because I saw them those really cool PCs.
Oh, in the 64 cases.
Yeah, they were so tempting.
Where I nearly got the credit card out.
Yeah, I could feel you. It's like, come on, let's go and play. Let's do the FIFA tournament. So the Oliver Twins were at Retcon, and I was a massive fan of them because I was a big fan of Dizzy. And one of the things that the Oliver Twins turned around and said was, it was much better working on the Amstrad than it was the Spectrum, which made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you left. And And then they were talking about this.
I
game
can
creation
understand why though. I can understand why. Proper keyboard and yeah, I can understand why.
So they did that, and which was made me laugh considering you were with me at the time. This was a retro my first retro gaming convention.
Yeah,
and you left, and then they were talking about this tool that they created to help you make games. It's very simple games, nothing too onerous. Yeah, and I managed to persuade them to create a game set in a what do you call it? A Mystic Argos.
yeah. It was like a mobile game, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's when they chat to each other and that. But I made them because it was like they were like they were like, where are we going to set it? It's like on the moon. It goes to the post Brexit and all these silly things. And I was like, yes, that fellow over there with the funny head. Yeah, how about an interdimensional Argos? And I went, okay. So they wrote it down on the board, and it was like they read it out, and the way they read it out was like the whole led the crowd towards it, because they were like, oh, we could do we could do this. This should be interesting. And it's like, oh, you've got to go around the back and go through the portal and take you to all these other lands and whatnot. And it was like I was purposefully being as much obnoxious, or much not obnoxious, a pain in the ass as much as possible. Let's see how far we can do this. And they did, and it's up. It's actually up on.
It is.
I can't remember what it's called now, but you can play it.
It's shit though.
I have to find it.
Is.
Oh, they did it in the afternoon. They did it in the afternoon. It was like a game jam thing, for crying out loud. Yeah. So it's asset flippy sort of thing. So that was interesting. Anyway, going back.
I wouldn't even put it in the same league as some of the game jams out there.
Oh,
yeah, it was a bit of fun. It was a bit of fun.
It was fun. Yeah,
it was a bit of fun. And it was more fun the fact that you were there and they're like, right, we like your ideas. We're gonna make the game. We're gonna make the game for you. Yeah. That was brilliant. I like that.
Yeah, that put a big smile on my face. Well, I told my sister, because she was a massive Disney fan. I said, do you remember the Oliver Twins? Went, yeah, I remember the Oliver Twins. I went, yeah. I encouraged them to make a game. It was crap, but it was fun at the same time too. So yeah, that was that. So Dizzy, Goonies was another one that we really enjoyed playing, but we were shit at. We could get past the first level, but not the second level. We had to like bust the pipes and then knock the can over.
I don't remember the Goonies game.
The game? No, you don't remember that? Do you remember one called Dark Side? It was 3D.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it called Dark Side?
Sure, it's Dark Side.
Yes, it was the sequel to Driller.
Driller? I never knew that. I just played it because it's
sequel to Driller. Cool. It used an engine called Freescape. I remember that. Yeah. In fact, when I was 15, I had a Dark Side poster on my wall. Yeah, I remember that. God, that's scary. Remembering that.
Yeah, so Dark Side, that was a good one. Playing Ace of Aces. Do you remember that one?
Vaguely.
World War II bomber.
Yeah,
to
vaguely.
Get into the thingy, drop it on trains, submarines, tanks, etc. And then you have to put out engine fires and whatnot.
So where did you go after the Amstrad then?
I went to the NES after the Amstrad.
Straight to the NES, okay.
Straight to the NES, yeah. So I went straight to the NES because it was. I had a friend called Colin. We have got that friend who seems to have all the bloody things that you.
Yeah. All right, Colin.
So my mate Colin, he had an NES, and he had. It was the time of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Hero Turtles, and they're in the UK. And he had that on his NES. We played the crap out of it. It wasn't the one in the arcade that I played with my friends when
Turtles in Time. Awesome game.
Yeah. It wasn't that one, but it was really good. And Gradius. You ever played Gradius? The intro. I love the intro music to that.
Also known as Nemesis.
Yeah. Crikey.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had that, and then I was like, I want one for Christmas, Mum. Dad, give me one.
Yeah.
So they got me that. It came with Super Mario and Solar Jetman, which was the sequel to Jetpack on the Spectrum, I believe.
What was that called?
Solar Jetman.
Oh, okay. Don't think I've ever seen that.
Ever seen that one?
So it's like a bit of an unofficial sequel. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't as. It was like collect the bits for your spaceship and then move on. I'm sure that was the thing for Jetpack too. Was collect the bits of your spaceship. And
yeah, you collect your bits for your spaceship, built it together, then grab the fuel, put the fuel in, then you could take off next level. Yeah. Simple game, but still so highly playable to this day. Awesome.
So I think that was why it was. I don't know if it was an unofficial sequel. You have to look up. So I had that and Super Mario Brothers. Played the hell out of Super Mario Brothers. It was one of the first time in my life that I remember leaving school being excited to go home.
Wasn't that just called Mario Brothers on the NES though?
Ah, right. No, that was Mario Brothers, which was the two people on the pipes jump up and down. And
Wasn't it Super Mario Brothers on the SNES?
No, it was Super Mario Brothers was on the NES first. Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, yeah.
Oh, it's Super Mario Brothers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Super
okay.
2 and 3 and Super Mario Brothers World. So they hadn't decided to put. Nintendo hadn't decided to do the Nintendo thing with like what's the name of the console? It's the Super NES. Okay, so everything's now Super Street Fighter, Super.
That's it.
Super F-Zero, Super Star Wars,
Yep.
Super Empire Strikes Back, and then it's like the N64 comes out, and it's like kind of what we're going to call Mario 64. Okay, F-Zero 64, and they did all those bits. So yeah, I had that, I played that, really enjoyed that. It was great because you could much easier to exchange games with people. Yeah, there's no worry that they'd screw up your tape, and then got the biro in there and wound bits back to get the tape, get all that metallic tape back into the bloody
professional tape, professional tape winder, a big pen.
Big pen, perfect.
Yeah,
that's another thing kids will never understand. Using a big pen to pull the tape in.
It's like what?
So got that, played that, enjoyed the hell out of NES. So yeah, it was. I'm trying to think of all the other games I had too. I had Bionic Commando. Love Bionic Commando. I actually like Bionic Commando when they did the redo.
It was
hated.
It was a classic arcade game. I mean, it was brilliant. Yeah.
It was, because you could and shooting because despite what they say, you shoot the resurrection of Hitler in the face with a gun at the end of that game. Yeah, you get one chance to make the shot as you're falling, and you make the shot, and then it cuts, and then you see Hitler's head go. It's quite so much fun. So yeah, NES. I had great fun with that. And then my next one was the Mega Drive. I remember getting that.
Yes.
My parents were really good. They gave it to me early for Christmas. They gave it to me at the beginning.
An early Christmas present. Wow.
Early Christmas present. Yeah. I think I'd save. I don't know if I put some money aside for a TV so I could have a TV in my room.
Okay.
So yeah, I did that. I started playing the Mega Drive. Sonic, first game on there. Fantastic. Loved it. Everything was buttery smooth. I remember watching Games Master. They were showing off bits for the Mega Drive and that. I had that. Alien Storm. God, loved Alien Storm. That was great.
Yeah, class game.
So yeah, Alien Storm, Terminator, the first Terminator game, and this was the time. This was peak. This is what I would describe as one of the peaks of gaming. Yeah, was you could go down to the video rental store and rent a game, and because of the way the Mega Drive games were, you could complete them in a weekend. Yeah, so you could go down there, rent a game, play the extra to have it over 2 days, return it late Sunday, and play that. And I remember because I was about, I think it was 11, 12. So I'd rent the game. I'd go there, rent the game on like Saturday morning, if I could, if it was not get on Friday. Rent the game because my mum and dad let me use their card, and they gave me the secret pin for this RCA video club at the time. And I'd get the game, take it home, play the crap out of it as much as I could, try and complete it, and then return it. And I got through so many Mega Drive games, and I love that renting games. Sorry.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't remember the renting game part of that era. The renting games for me was the 2600 was the Atari. So because we had quite a few video shops in our area, so you have your Betamax, your VHS, and then you'd have your Atari 2600 games. You'd have your ColecoVision games and your Intellivision games. So those are the ones you could hire. When by the time it got to Mega Drive and SNES, I was working in a game shop anyway. That we were selling the Japanese versions. So I was already working. So I have no memory at all of being able to hire.
Yeah.
Like the new generation of 16-bit games. So that's quite fascinating.
How I did that. I got through loads. It was like £2-3 to rent games. So it's like kind of that's my pocket money there. Go play a game at the weekend, keep myself entertained. So yeah, Mega Drive. I think played Mega Drive, and then a friend of mine, Michael Eastman, had a cousin stay over, and he brought his Super Nintendo over. They were playing International Superstar Soccer and Super Mario World. Now I liked what do you call it? I liked Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, even though technically it's not really Super Mario Brothers 2. 3, I loved them. I really didn't like Super Mario Brothers World. I don't know what it was. Just I think it put me off Mario games. I'll be honest with you, that one. I don't know, but there was something about it. I did play it, I did complete it, but I was like, yeah, no, I don't. It just got a bit too much for me. I was just like, kind of got to agree, because if you're seeing the blue show, this happens. I'm just like, kind of just let me jump on fucking things. Like before, now I've got this map. Before it was just straight shoot. Princess is in another castle. Oh, dreadful. Okay, well, let's go and find her. And then you find her, she's got massive hook nose. So it's so played that. I enjoyed the hell out of that. Then something happened. I bought my first PC, and it was 486DX.
Oh, okay.
SX. It was a turbocharged version, so an extra.
Got the button. You got the button, the turbo button.
I didn't have that. It was an IBM machine. It was an IBM machine, and it was a work. It was a work PC because my friend worked for, I think it was SAP, and they had this extra machine, so I got that, and then it didn't have a graphics card in it, but I started learning how the Windows operating system worked. It was Windows 3.11, which was put on there. Okay. Yeah, and it gave me a box with like 40 bloody discs in, with my 100 megabyte hard drive. 100 megabytes for a hard drive,
which was massive then, absolutely massive.
Yeah. I remember that. I used that. I like writing stories and bits on there, just learning how everything works, and it was that was fun, just to try and figure out all these things. And it was like getting behind and doing the command prompts and this, that, and the other in DOS. I quite like DOS as an interface sort of thing. So
I'm a fan of DOS. Yeah, like DOS.
So yeah, did that. Had some puzzle games on there, some other bits in there, and it was good. I remember I had this metal tray thing that I bought from Argos, or I got my parents to buy it. I can't remember if I paid for it or they paid for it. Maybe it was part and part. And I remember assembling it myself. Yeah, it was the first bit of furniture that I assembled for this computer. So I could have the computer and I had like a slide out tray, so I could type away on the slide out tray. I had a massive mouse, and then it's like when you learn the secret with the mouse ball, where you pop out the mouse ball and then you peel off, which I thought the first time around was some kind of elastic band on there so it gripped it better. No, it's the crud. It's the crud from your desk.
Yeah.
I did that, and it's just like, what the hell is this? And I remember doing that and playing around with that. I had very few games on that.
I tell you what's weird about ball mice is if you ever get a chance to use one again, you sort of when you go from a ball mouse back to a normal optical mouse or laser mouse, you sort of miss the weight of the mouse.
Right. Yes.
It's hard to explain. It almost feels as though there's nothing there with modern mice. I mean, the Logitech one that I've got, you have to put the weights into the mouse, and I just use them all, so it feels like a ball mouse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those, isn't it? If you haven't experienced it, I like the ball mice.
It was yeah. There's something because that was the era of the mechanical keyboards too. So you have decent keyboards, the weighty keyboards. Everything was a bit more industrial. I think it's the best way to describe it. Excuse me for it.
Well, they were built to last, weren't they? At the end of the day, they were built for. They were workstations, and they were built to last.
Yeah, it's mad. I had that. So I did my SNES, then I moved on to my PC. Then I got angry one day because something broke. The hard drive was going on it. I didn't realise the hard drive was going on it. I thumped it, and then I knocked the spindles off the spindles. You could hear it go dunk, dunk.
Oh.
I was like, and the worst thing is I put a dent in the top of the case through sheer frustration. So the hard drive was going, and I just sent it on its merry way. And then it was like, do I fix it? And then part of me is like, kind of, maybe you should have a new one. Maybe you should have one with some kind of grunt. So I went and I looked online, did my research, figured out what I was getting. And I got the Siemens Nixdorf computer. Okay. My parents had to drive like a good half hour from our house in order to get it. And like people in the States, if they hear that, it's nothing. That's normal. But for us in the UK, everything's quite close. So you had to drive there. We got the thingy. It came with a scanner. It came with a scanner, a printer, a load of stuff. So my parents were like, you know what, you've done your homework.
Had we entered the Pentium stage now? Or we were still on?
So this was a 133 megahertz.
Oh, it was a 133, Pentium 133.
Pentium 133 megahertz. And I was like, oh, cool, I got it. And I got it, and I started playing games and bits on it, and Doom. I played Doom on it. Absolutely loved Doom. Then I played Duke Nukem on it, and I got into building the maps on Duke Nukem. I loved that. Was the best bit about Duke Nukem was the map editor. It was so easy to use.
Yeah,
it really was. The downside is that you couldn't. There were limitations to it. Because there were limitations to it, you didn't quite like the fact that you couldn't quite put in everything you wanted.
Had you been introduced, because you bought this brand new machine? Had you been introduced to the dial-up internet at that stage?
That was the next stage. So did that, and then it was like, okay, Dad turns around and goes, "We're going to think we should put this computer on the internet." I was like, "Oh, cool." So we got the internet, and it's like we plugged it in, and it was a 36K modem. So it wasn't a 56K modem.
33.6.
Yeah, 33.6.
33.6. Yeah.
So did that, and that was. If that was me now, I wouldn't stand for it. I'm too impatient. No matter where we had CompuServe, and it was a case of you log on to CompuServe, you get, I think it was like you get 2 hours free a day, and then you have to pay for the next hour after that. So Dad was like using the computer, and it's like, okay, cool, I'll use it to email my friend in the States.
I think it worked out to about £1 an hour, didn't it, back then? I think, if I remember right.
I think it was a bit more on CompuServe.
Was he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was on AOL 2, version 2.
Oh my god, how many AOL discs, free trial discs were made? Seriously, every magazine I bought came with demo disc and an AOL disc.
AOL disc, yeah.
It's probably enough to put, if edge to edge, you could probably get it to the moon and back. That's how many I think were made. But yeah, no, we had CompuServe, so we did CompuServe, set it all up and that, and started learning how to use the internet and whatnot. And it was mostly X-Files and Babylon 5 stuff, ironically, that I was looking at, because it was that
Okay.
kind of, couldn't look at anything else because certain bits were locked out. Thanks, Dad.
Well, it was the early days of the net, wasn't it? So
yeah, the early days of the net. So did that. We got around to doing those sort of things, and then I got an upgrade. Yeah, so it was like I went from that. Oh no, sorry, went from that, and then I moved on to my 33, and it was an AMD 33. Was it 3D now technology?
yes,
Had AMD with 3D
yeah,
now
AMD 3D now. Yeah,
sounded fantastic at the time. It was great. So I did that. I put it on, started playing some games. Some game called Final Liberation, which is like a Warhammer, epic Warhammer game. So I played Final Liberation. That was fantastic. And then my mate Neil at the time turns around and goes, it's ironic because I think it was 25 years old recently. Goes, it's a game called Half-Life, Gareth. Have you tried it? I went,
oh,
no.
game changer.
He gave me his copy of Half-Life because you need to play this. And he was like, it will change your life.
Yes.
It will change your life. So I got it, and I started playing on it. And I'm looking at what I've got. Yeah, I know, I can see it there, along with opposing forces. I don't know if I can see Blue Shift there though, and I can see.
No, I haven't. I haven't got the original of Blue Shift. No, shame. Miss out on that one.
So got that, played it, didn't look right. Anyway, I had a job at the time, and I was like, I think I should buy myself a graphics card. And my first graphics card was the 3DFX Voodoo 2000, I think.
Oh, you went right. Okay, so that was your first.
The one with my first graphics card that I bought. I got it home, and it was like, my friend was like, this was when I was friends with Keith originally, and it was like, kind of, got to be careful because if you've got a static charge and you touch it, it'll explode and die, and you've wasted all your money and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my god, I just want to swap a board out on a computer. And I'm like, my friend Neil was much more calmer than Keith, and goes, well, you need to just make sure that do it in the kitchen where there's no carpet. Yeah, touch the side of the case.
That's it. That's it. Fine. That's it. Leave it plugged in.
You don't need the little strap. You don't need the stupid strap.
Just leave it plugged in. Leave it plugged in. Yeah, leave it plugged in. So, touch the metal. That's it. Yeah. You're good. Good to go.
Did that. I popped the thing in. I started it up. Didn't work. Oh, fuck drivers. So I put drivers on there. And then it was like, drivers an hour out of date. I'm like, download drivers. And it was 36K. So it was like, maybe tomorrow. Did it. Yeah. Put it on. And it was fucking night and day. Seriously, it was night and bloody day.
It was incredible. That transition was incredible. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was like, there was like I don't know, something weird. The Vortigens, did they have like a green neck thing that goes around them? That was shiny, which was never shiny on the software version of it, which was shiny on the Voodoo thing. Played it. Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it was fantastic. I think I preferred fighting the Marines than I did the aliens. I didn't complete it because I got to the Islands at the end. I was clueless on how to beat it. Yeah, it's the weird baby with the 3 hands. I got there and I'm just like banging up and down. I'm like, I'd rather fight, some Marines and Apache. But I really absolutely loved it. And my friend was right. It would change my life. He then put me off of Fallout. Yeah, Fallout, the Interplay version of Fallout was out roughly about that time. And he was like, oh, this game's really hard. And he's like showing it to me, and I'm like kind of like picking the stats and whatnot, and getting out of the cave and fighting a rad scorpion and stuff, because, oh, you're poisonous, you're going to die in that. And he made it out so hard. And I really regret that I let him wind me up, because I think he was just taking a piss, I'll be honest with you, about the game, because I think I really would have enjoyed it. But he was definitely right about Half-Life. So yeah, I did Half-Life, and then I had that PC, so I had my 333, and then I moved on to the PlayStation. So PlayStation was then my next one down the line. I got that, I think it was like a year and a half after it came out. I managed to get a good deal on it. I got 3 games for the price of the PlayStation on its own. So I got 3 games on the PlayStation, 2 controllers. It came with 2 controllers. Oh god.
Well, that was a point where all of a sudden you had arcade quality games in your house.
Yeah.
And that was the fall of, unfortunately, that was the fall of your arcades once the PlayStation, and then your Sega Saturn came out. That was the beginning, I think, of the fall of arcades, because no longer did you have to go to the arcades and have a wad of 10p's or pound coins with you anymore, because it was like, well, I've got my PlayStation or my Saturn at home. So
yeah, love that. Got, what was it, Ridge Racer, Wipeout, something else. I can't remember what the other one was. There were some great games on that too. Alien Trilogy. Do you remember Alien Trilogy?
Yep, still got that. Still got a copy of that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Trilogy, that
probably one of the best Alien games ever made, up until Alien Isolation was made. But when it comes to, I mean, look at Colonial Marines. We were all waiting for Colonial Marines. I bought the special edition with the loader with Ripley in it holding the alien. But to be honest, my brother bought the same, and we had a game in co-op, and we had a right laugh. But it was,
I'll be honest with you,
such a shame.
Crap games plus co-op tend to make things work.
It was a laugh. It was a laugh.
Yeah.
It was a laugh in co-op.
So yeah, it's like so played that. I had that. That was that. Then I went back to the PC. Got a new one. Crikey, I was still 1.6. It was 1.3. I can't remember. It was 1.6 hertz. This is when you measured it in megahertz. Sorry, this is when you measured it, because you just had the single core. Had that.
That's it, yeah.
Start playing around with that. That was good fun. Games like Black and White.
Oh, what a game! Yeah, classic.
Black and White. I only got to the 3rd level on Black and White. It was such annoying because it was, the game mechanics were good, but it didn't let you go through it. It took the creature away from you on the 2nd level, and I was like, "What? That's a dick move to do." Yeah.
Oh,
you need to go around this mountain. Yeah.
That's like collecting all the weapons in an FPS game, and then you get a level, and it's like you get beaten up, and it's like, I've got no weapons there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, not an enjoyable.
No, that wasn't enjoyable.
Part of a game story.
Yeah, that and what was it? Some GeForce something in that one. I can't remember which one I had.
Yeah.
GeForce 760. Considering what we're 1080 something, 420 or whatever, 20.
Yeah, it's got to the stage now where it's got out of hand now. All the different variants, TI and OC, and then you've got all the different brands. It was easy before. It was like, oh, it's an what was it called? Orchard Righteous 3D effects card. There you go. Job done. Or you had a Reaver TNT. That was it. That was your choice. Yeah. Whereas now, it's like, I don't know. And obviously Intel are trying to muscle in as well, aren't they? Under AMD and NVIDIA.
Yeah. So yeah, that was so I did that, and then I got that, and then I think the last cut I played, that I was big into PC gaming then. So I moved. Yeah. I moved out with my parents in my own place. Call of Duty comes out, the Modern Warfare. Now I played Call of Duty, the first one, loved that. Modern Warfare, looked at that and went, oh, that looks fucking good. Played that on the PC. I would like to refer to it as a point and click adventure, because you just point, clicked, and they died, and then you just had the adventure. So That's stolen from someone. So yeah, I did that. That was good fun. And then I think it was the last proper game I played on the PC at that point was BioShock.
Incredible game.
BioShock. That is, I've played that game once on the PC, once on the PS3, once on the 360, once on the PS4 in the remastered version, and I own the remastered version on the Xbox, and I'm tempted to go back and play that. And it is one of those games that's absolutely brilliant. Fortunately, its sequel, BioShock Infinite, I didn't enjoy as much. They did a lot of things right in it, but it just didn't.
That was the third one.
Third one. Oh,
yeah,
System Shock.
No, there was BioShock. There was BioShock 2.
Oh, okay.
And then there was BioShock. Yeah.
Us in the gaming world tend to forget about BioShock 2 because it's not as good. That's why
you didn't like BioShock. I enjoyed BioShock 2. I did.
It was all right. I'm trying to remember what I remember. Yeah, because you had the big sisters in there.
So
more agile versions.
Did you not get on with BioShock Infinite then?
Oh, I got on with it, but I just didn't. It wasn't as engrossing as.
Yeah, I don't think. But BioShock was so good and different. It's the same as when Deus Ex was released. It was so good.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat it, isn't it? When you've got games like that. But Valve did it with Half-Life, didn't they? With Half-Life and Half-Life 2, they managed to, up the game.
They did, and I remember Half-Life 2. I remember it was like I'm going to buy a graphics card, but I'm going to wait till Half-Life 2 comes out. So when Half-Life 2 comes out, I know it's coming out. I'll pre-order it, and then I will work out what's the best graphics card to get. Because if I get it now, there'll be a deal or something, or something new. I will wait and get it just before then and get it installed. And I remember putting that on my machine, and I loved that. The water effects for the second level where you're on not second level, on the kind of the bit where you're on the speedboat thing. That was awesome because you used to have the level screens were the level that you were on. So it would have a custom level screen for each bit that you were on, and you could see the water just moving backwards and forward. And it just looked like, wow, they've actually got around to nailing what water looks like. That sounds so crazy today, yeah, considering that we've got near photorealistic graphics with people, and you see the demos for like the Unreal Engine 5 stuff that you've got, yeah.
But there's always a moment in gaming where something, and films and TV, where something happens first. And yeah, but BioShock and Half-Life were part of that. It's the same as there hasn't been. I don't think there's been a moment since The Matrix in film where something different and has been pioneering. So before Matrix, it was, you could argue, it was Terminator 2 and The Abyss with the effects they were using.
I wouldn't say the Abyss. Terminator 2, not the.
But then after that, you got The Matrix.
Yeah.
What is the bit? Yeah. There's been things that have been impressive, but there's been nothing that's been, wow, that is a complete game changer. I don't think there's been anything since The Matrix. Not that I can think of, anyway.
Godzilla -1, fantastic film. Watch that.
Practical effects again. Yeah, it always wins.
CGI too, and done at such a cheap bloody level. It's putting Hollywood to shame. But that's for the other podcast.
That's yeah.
So yeah, Counter-Strike Source. I love Counter-Strike Source. Was my multiplayer game to go to. Me and my brothers used to love it. We were getting good at it too, which was great. And I just remember one of my favourite bits was we were in this guy. I can't remember this guy's name. He was great because we were all like talking over comms and whatnot. And we have set up our entry points. So what we do is the team goes. One team would go through the garage, so on the office block, yeah, go through the garage, and they start shooting up the stairs to get their attention. Then the others would try and sneak around the back, yeah. So I remember like 3 of us run around the back, and he goes flash out like that to throw it through the window, and he hits the top of the frame, yeah. And I watch the thing as it comes back down, and then boom, white. Yeah, everything's gone there. And then you can't hear anything over the microphone. It's got the ringing part, and it's like all I hear is sorry, sorry, like that as he's flashed the entire team. And that was great. And it was like kind of, there was that rifle. You had the sniper rifle with which didn't have a bolt action, which was banned, and then you had the AWP, which everybody loved. And if you nailed them on that, that was good. They were good games, really good games. I had so much fun playing those ones.
Yeah.
And then it was, and then the 360 and the PS3 era came up, which I'll be honest with you, it's probably the height of console games, not PC games or retro games or anything like that, but console games. I've come to the conclusion, I think it was the height of console games. The amount of competition.
I think you're right. Especially with the PS3 for me, because they had all the exclusives. The 360, they were just PC ports for me.
Yeah,
there's a lot of PC games coming out that were just 360 games, but at least the PlayStation 3 had genuine exclusives. It was worth getting the machine.
The Uncharted games.
Oh,
great.
Yeah, incredible.
Love them. Uncharted games were fantastic. What other ones were fantastic? The Resistance ones. The first one was okay, but it was a launch title, so you give it some leeway. And then the second one came out, and that was great. Because you had these bloody great big metal striders, and you saw like San Francisco getting taken over. And I think we get to the end of that game, and your guy, Private Hale or whatever his name is turning into one of these things, these chimera things, yeah. And you get onto the alien spaceship, and all of a sudden you can use telekinesis to explode the bad guys. So you're like walking through it, and you're like unstoppable towards the end, yeah. Anyway, you escape, and you're with this one guy, and it's the way it ends. It always stuck in my head because it's like kind of, it goes, you see your character, and he's like hunched over, and he's like, "Can you hear it?" Like that, and it's like, and the guy who's with him is like, "Can you hear what?" It goes, "They're singing like that," and he looks up, and his eyes, he's turned, yeah, and it goes, "Thank you very much." It goes, "Thank you very much, sir," and it blows his brains out. It's like, oh, it was just, it had those kind of, and I know that there's people who don't like the kind of cinematic kind of experience inside games. There's room for both. There really is room for both. And sometimes those cinematic games are much more, can be much more engaging on a kind of personal level, if it's done right. And I know that when you play things like Fallout, and there's other games like kind of Stalker and whatnot, you could get pulled into the world. And Stalker was one that I think I tried to start 3 times. It took me 3 attempts to get into it, and then when I got into it, I was really into it. As soon as I figured out how it worked and I got a feel for the whole surrounding that went into that, that was another really good game. And I just loved the end, because it was like kind of, you get to the reactor at Chernobyl, and it's like kind of, oh, it'll grant you a wish. So it's like kind of, you go in there and you like kind of, you wish for like gold, yeah, and then the cinematic as you're doing it, starts raining, because I did the saves. I was a big save scummer, so I did like, just before I got to the bit at the end, it was like, save here, yeah, so I can go back to the save point and get the other endings, because I'm not, I spent a lot of effort getting here, and I'm tooled up, and I don't want to run the risk of getting here and not being tooled up if I have to get into a fight. And it's like kind of, oh, I want to be rich, and the guy standing in the middle of what was the reactor core, and it's like raining gold, and it's not raining gold, it's the ceiling coming down on him, and then you see him get buried by the thing, and then you go in there and you then ask for something else, like kind of, oh, you want the knowledge or sight or something, and the guy winds up being blind, and it's kind of, and because I was going back and replaying it from a certain point, it kind of gives away what what was really going on, because it was psychics creating the zone. And you could see that with the illusions and bits. And then I managed to do it because it was like kind of, I went and asked it, and then it was like there's like an area around the side, so I then explored the area around the side. Wasn't much, very difficult to get to, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. So there's the reactor core, and then these guys are literally on like the annex. Yeah, they're on like kind of the garage or whatever of it. Again, fantastic, absolutely fantastic game. That was a brilliant one. And then the Call of Duties, they were good. Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, loved the hell out of Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. Black Ops first one multiplayer, and then it kind of dropped off after Black Ops 1. But yeah, they were good. I kind of really, there was some, and I know we talk about like console wars and stuff, but the console wars forced the companies to accelerate things and get more stuff out and this, that, and the other. It's like kind of like there were 3 Uncharted games in one generation. Yeah. PS4, there were 2 Uncharted games. Yeah, 2 Uncharted games, but one of them was really an add-on that was slightly bigger than it should be. Yeah. And then we got like 1 Spider-Man game. We would have got 3 Spider-Man games. Got 3 Gears of War games on the 360. The first Gears of War, I didn't like the first Gears of War. Loved the second one. Loved the third one. Don't know what it was about the first one. It just maybe it wasn't as refined as I wanted. And this is sacrilege to anyone who's a big 360 owner. Gears of War was miles better than Halo. Miles better than Halo. So much better. Your co-op play was better. The graphics were better. It felt more refined. Halo, in comparison, not as good as Gears. If you say, here, Gareth, have a new Halo game or have a new Gears game, I would go for the Gears game every time.
I think you have to.
Halo Infinite.
I think you have to separate them anyway, because you've got a first-person game and you've got a third-person game there. So, yeah. Okay. So coming to the end of the podcast now. Got a bit of a quick fire round for you.
Okay. All right.
So just a series of simple, quick questions. Favorite beer?
Favorite beer?
Favorite beer?
I usually try to go for the local stuff or Doom Bar.
Doom Bar. Okay.
Like Doom Bar.
You like Doom Bar? Yeah? So that's your favourite. Okay. Now, this one's going to be an impossible question for you, I think, because it's an impossible question for me. And it's always out of probably 2 films, but we'll give it a go. So, favourite film?
Favourite film?
Favourite film.
It depends on my... Right, so it depends on my mood. Yeah?
Okay. Because the thing is, there's different genres, isn't there? So it's difficult. It's a difficult question.
You know what? I'm gonna.
What film can you put on and watch all the time?
So I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna say, because it's the most recent film that I've watched, and I'm gonna surprise you.
Recent film.
This at the cinema. Recent film that I watched. I watched it at the cinema. It was absolutely great. It was the 1980s version of RoboCop. Loved it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
But I forgot how good. And it's weird because it works on levels. So as a kid, you just watch it, and it's just like a guy's been killed and he comes back, and then you grow up and you start seeing the satire and that with the adverts and the way that
it's so good.
The corporations and the politicians are working, and then there's the other level too, where it's secretly the story of Jesus Christ getting his revenge.
Okay, yeah.
He gets crucified. He comes back. He walks on water, and he kills Dick Jones, just like Jesus Christ did.
I hadn't thought of it like that, but that's brilliant.
It is, and I'm only saying that because it's all mood dependent. Because like during the winter, kind of like the Thing. Yeah,
I think RoboCop's a good choice. That would definitely be, if I had to have a top 10. RoboCop would be in there, definitely. Yes. Not my favourite film, because that's always a struggle between Aliens and The Thing. Always.
So I toss up between the 3. It's Aliens, Alien, and The Thing.
Okay. Oh yeah, Aliens.
That's why I went for the one I watched most recently, which was
That's fair enough.
Anyway,
that's fair enough.
So
Okay.
I've really knackered this quick fire round.
Favorite TV series?
Favorite TV series?
You can't choose The Expanse.
Or can't choose The Expanse. Okay.
No, I've only said that because it was. I remember it being a regular.
Yeah.
On the
podcast.
Podcast. Yeah.
I'm going to say Stargate Atlantis because I watched that and I enjoyed the hell out of watching Stargate Atlantis.
Okay.
And it's one of those ones I bought on VOD over COVID, and I watched it, and I think I've watched it like the whole series through about 4 times recently.
So again, for me,
that's in 4 years.
Again, for me, impossible question, because there's so many series that I loved. Monkey Magic, TJ Hooker, A-Team, Knight Rider, Street Hawk.
It's something, yeah.
Starsky and Hutch, Mork and Mindy. I can just
something you didn't know about the A-Team, yeah.
Go on.
The only one of them who was a criminal was Face, yeah. He was the only one that was a criminal because he was selling stuff on the black market.
Yeah.
And B.A. Baracus, the reason he had all the gold chains, that was all his savings. Seriously, he didn't trust banks, so he wore it around his neck, and it's only mentioned in the first episode.
Okay.
I think it's the first episode. I hope it's the first episode. Now I'm going to go back and watch and check.
Like a pilot, or
yeah.
Okay. Favorite game.
Really,
I know they're impossible.
You know what? I'm going to go to the things that I've been watching recently and playing recently and seeing recently that I've been enjoying. So I'm going to say Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2. And I am great at fighting the robots and shit at fighting the bugs.
Is it really that good?
To everyone.
Is it really that good? I need to play that.
I need some people to play with. Though.
Yeah, I need to play that.
When I play with randos, it's not the same.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to have a look into that. And favorite music artist or band?
Bloody hell. I have to check what I've been listening to recently. I'm just basing it on what I've been doing. So I was just listening to my recent ones because I'm going to say Hans Zimmer. Not band. I'm going to say Hans Zimmer because I just love Hans Zimmer stuff. I really do.
It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
They're great ones to like. Supermarine's a good one to run to.
Interstellar soundtrack, incredible.
Oh, it's Batman. Yeah. Batman soundtracks for all 3 of them, fantastic. Inception, great soundtrack. That's the thing that's giving you the womp in all the bloody films now.
All good. It's all good.
So yeah, that was a good one. What else we got?
That's it. That's it. That was last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's
for
it.
That. It's just
that's it.
Quite a hard one.
That's it. So Gareth, thanks for doing the podcast with me, mate. Even though this is the platform hired out to myself. Much appreciated.
This setup seems quite familiar.
It's very familiar. Let's see if we can get Gaming Face Punch back up and running.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Okay.
And before we go, where can people find Monkey Nut Face Punch?
So Monkey Nut, right? So go on YouTube and search for Gaming Face Punch for gaming stuff. Yeah. If you don't want gaming stuff and you want TV and movies, you go find Monkey Nut Punch. If you want to find our podcasts, go to MNP. That's Monkey Nut Punch NNP .ninja. .com or net or co.uk.
Just Ninja.
Ninja. Yes.
And they can search for you on Spotify as well, can't they?
Yep. Well, you can find me on. You can find me. You can find us on Spotify too. You can find me on Spotify. Yeah. Just like it just is a video of me going.
This is me.
Knocking over my mic. Yeah. So yeah. That's,
okay. Cheers, and Gareth. Thanks, mate.
Thanks very much.
I'll speak to you soon.
See you. Bye. So he has to go for a wee, and it's me sitting here on my own, feeling like some kind of massive arsehole. Yeah, it's like kind of Gareth goes, apparently when you turn up to parties, everyone fucks off. But no. Oh, you're going to have so much fun listening to me while you're editing this, because it's like kind of, yeah. Amstrad CPC 464, miles better than ZX Spectrum. No two ways about it. Yeah, so I didn't realise you've got all the bumps that we've got for the podcast. I'm actually tempted to flip over and put the Rebecca Ferguson thing on while you're there. So I'm going to just quickly go to Monkey Nut Punch. So it's going to become Monkey Nut Punch temporarily. And then I'm going to go back to the video clips and hopefully... Oh, it's not there. Put Rebecca Ferguson on. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Sorry. What? Sorry, I was just fucking around while you were away.
I might leave that bit in.
No, it's fine. You'll cut it out. Sorry, there'll be some clear demarcation. Yeah, and you might have some interesting stuff to listen to while you're editing. You just cut that bit out.